Hey everybody out there, Chris here. Welcome to Comic Corner, and this is a pretty special video. I'm honored to be a part of a huge comic community collaboration in the wake of Before Watchmen, which is coming out in the beginning of June. It starts. A bunch of us guys, 12 of us, are reviewing separate issues, or in my case, chapters of Watchmen. Every other day one of us is reviewing a specific part of Watchmen, and I was picked to do chapter 8. Actually, it's kind of ironic, this is one of my favorite chapters, and I'll be putting links to everybody else involved in the description below. GhostCritic started this, and man, this was the best idea in the world, and as I said, I'm very honored to be a part of it. For those of you out there who don't know Watchmen, Watchmen was an awesome book from back in the 80s. It's written by Alan Moore. Artwork is by Dave Gibson. Dave Gibson is at this moment doing Secret Service. Alan Moore is known for tons of different stories that range from Swamp Thing to all around the comic book world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through chapter 8. I'm going to give you guys a walkthrough from beginning to end of chapter 8, and then I'll give you guys my opinion on just basically a review on it, like just a regular comic review. In the last chapter, chapter 7, it leaves off. I'm going to just backtrack, not to step on the person before me feet. I'm just going to backtrack to the last few pages, the last statement that was made. It was Dan and Laurie after their moment, and Dan tells Laurie, we got to break Rorschach out, and she's like, what? And then that's how that chapter ended, and then we start up with chapter 8, which is this. Okay. Well, chapter begins with Hollis talking with Laurie's mother. He actually gives her a call. They just talk about the old times, they relive things, and then Dan talks about, and they talk about the suits and, you know, back in the day and whatnot, and then he actually brings up, I'm trying to find it exactly. He's telling her about how I want us to make sure that here it is. Paper reports a tenement fire last night. Trapped people rescued by an airship. The pilot wore goggles, and it seems he had a woman next to him. Basically, that was Night Owl and Laurie. Hollis is basically telling Laurie's mom that it's Laurie and Dan. Dan is Night Owl. And she's like, wow, I never thought she'd actually go back to that. And she was actually surprised that Laurie actually wanted to be an adventurer. Or an adventurer to us is basically a superhero. And they basically have a bit more of a discussion, and then they end the their conversation, and then the title comes up. By the way, chapter 8 is called Old Ghosts. Then it jumps to the newsstand. It goes back and forth from this point on, from the newsstand to another scene in the comic, in the issue or the chapter, where the newsman's talking about the current events and what's going on. Then it jumps to Dan and Laurie, where Dan's downstairs and they're preparing the ship for the saving Rorschach. Then it jumps to Rorschach in jail. This was one of my favorite chapters because of the whole Rorschach. This is how Rorschach basically escapes jail. This guy called Big Figure, who's really a midget, shows up. It turns out Rorschach put him in jail. He's been in jail for 20 years, and now that Rorschach's put in the exact same jail as him, this is where he's gonna get his revenge, so to speak, and he's gonna kill Rorschach. So then it jumps back to Dan. A police officer comes to his house, a special agent, and he's talking about how there are rumors around that these adventurers are coming back. You know, there was a law in 1977, I believe, that outlawed people wearing costumes and adventurers. And you know, it was real nice of them to show up for this one time. I could ignore that. Next time I might have to look up things. And Dan's like, are you trying to say something? And basically he's just giving Dan a little bit of a scare warning, because I believe he believes that Dan is, you know, there's no definitive proof that Dan is Night Owl, but at the same time he's giving him that little warning, like, you know, we don't want to remember about the 77, and let's leave it that way. And then he basically leaves. It's just basically a huge scare warning where he's like, you know, they did a nice thing, but they better not start showing up again. Just giving like Dan that like don't come back out of retirement kind of feeling. So then Dan's like, we're gonna have to break Rorschach out earlier than we expected. We gotta push plans forward because things are gonna get bad. And this is all taking place, as I said, on Halloween. Jumps back to the newsstand where a gang of people, or a gang in general, shows up, and they're talking about the newspaper and how they hate the adventurers and the superheroes and whatnot. Then it jumps back into the jail cell where there's a riot going on. Big Figure and his two thugs go to Rorschach's cell, and they're going to break in and they're going to kill him. That's the whole point. He pisses off one of Big Figure's thugs. He reaches in, straps the guy right in front of the lock, and there's no way to break in now, so Big Figure has him killed by the other guy, and the other guy and then it jumps to where Night Owl and Laurie show up. The other guy breaks in, he dies. I love the line Rorschach gives. First, when the first guy was killed by Big Figure himself, he's like, 1-0. Then the other guy dies, he's like, 2-0, your move. And Big Figure runs. And then Rorschach basically right after chases after. Night Owl and Laurie break in, Dan and Laurie break in, and they're looking for Rorschach. Rorschach is basically casually walking after Big Figure as Big Figure's running away. They bump into Rorschach. Rorschach says, give me a minute, I need to handle some business. Goes into the men's room where Big Figure is. And he comes out. I don't think Big Figure's ever going to be coming out of there again. And they break Rorschach out. Then they go back to Dan's place. They're all rushing to grab stuff because they're going to be on the run from the law now. John shows up, who is also known as Dr. Manhattan, for those of you who this is your first part you're watching. By the way, you should go back to the other 7 parts first because you're going to kind of be lost because I'm in the middle. I'm actually literally almost smack dab in the middle. I'm a little bit further. I'm 2 issues past the middle of this series or story. John shows up. John has the ability to see into the future, and he sees that Laurie wants to talk to him or wants to be with him, to talk with him, to try to convince him to save the world and whatnot. Because the reason Dan broke Rorschach out of jail is because Dan thinks Rorschach was onto something, that there is somebody out there looking to doomsday and everything like that. So John ends up taking Laurie away to Mars. The police break into Dan's house. Dan and Rorschach run off. It goes back to the newsstand where they find out in the paper one of the people was known as something Owl, and then this guy goes, Night Owl? My dad knows him. Lives above some garage near here. We ought to go kick his... And they go... when they say they knew the guy, they're thinking about Hollis. Hollis was one of the Minutemen back in the day. So they go to Hollis's place. He thinks it's trick-or-treaters. He opens the door. The gang breaks in. They beat him up. And long story short, huge spoiler here, the last page of the issue, Hollis is actually killed by the gang. The gang runs off and leave him dead in his apartment. And some trick-or-treaters show up. And they're like, Mr. Mason? And that's it. He's left lying there, his entire house in shambles, and he's dead. This, as I said, was one of my favorite issues in the Watchmen series, not because of the whole ending. I thoroughly enjoyed the part where Big Figure tries to get at Rorschach and the whole riot where Rorschach actually broke free, and how it was like, I enjoyed it a lot. The whole Night Owl and Laurie, Dan and Laurie got together. I keep calling him Night Owl. I should just call him Dan because in this book you just learn to call them by their first names. You know, Dan and Laurie are together. Everything's coming apart. Finally, everybody's starting to believe in what Rorschach said. And now it's the whole point of, okay, we believe you, but now who is it? Major plot twist, and there's the death in the end, which was really awesome. It was a really, really good issue. Watchmen in general was a really, really, really good story. I would highly recommend it. Alan Moore did amazing writing on this book. and Dave Gibson's artwork was second to none. Awesome. The breakout scene, the the actual part where Rorschach broke out of jail, it's one of the more popular Watchmen scenes that are floating around YouTube from the movie. So yeah, also if you haven't seen the Watchmen movie, the book was epic. Nothing can top the book. But the movie adaptation to this part specifically, where Rorschach's broken out, was also pretty cool as well. So Watchmen just was an awesome series. As far as before Watchmen goes, I'm really skeptical of if it's a good idea, because even Alan Moore said Watchmen was not meant to have a prequel, nor was there supposed to be a story that followed after it. It was its own story. It was a 12-issue series. It was self-contained, and that was it. When Watchmen ended, it ended, and the past was mentioned in the first few issues of the book, and that was in the first few issues of the series, and that was it. And then they moved forward. Not too sure, for those of you who are going to ask, I know in the comments, if I'll be getting before Watchmen, because there are a lot of series, and DC decided that they're going to charge $3.99 an issue, which isn't really that cool in my opinion, but yeah. So I'm not too sure if I'll be picking up all of them, if any at all. I'm really not too big of a fan of DC lately, especially with all the BS they're pulling in their company. So I can't promise you guys I'll be getting before Watchmen single issues at least. I might get the graphic novel when it comes out. I might just completely go look over it. I might give it a shot. I'm undecided right now. Let's leave it at undecided. So that's it. This was Chapter 8 of Watchmen. Chapter 9 is next. You'll be seeing that really soon. As I said, all the links to everybody who's involved in this collaboration will be below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a favorite. Show YouTube that you enjoyed it. Go check out everybody else's channel that I put in the description for the latest or previous chapters of this book, and give them a subscribe and a favorite if you enjoy their videos or their channel. If you haven't already, please click that subscribe button for my channel. If you enjoyed this video, there will be many, many more just like it, if not better. Yeah, so take care everybody. I love comments also, so please feel free to comment below whether you like this book, like this chapter, didn't like this book, didn't like this chapter, questions, anything. I love it all. Trolls will be deleted, of course, automatically. I don't do the thumbs up, thumbs down, because that's just not my way of working my videos. So the way you show YouTube you love it is you favorite it. If you don't love it, you won't favorite it. But please, if you haven't already, as I said, click that subscribe button, because there will be big things coming for this channel as the summer draws ever nearer to us, with 1 month away. Also, for those of my US viewers, happy Memorial Day. Today is officially Memorial Day. For those of you guys that are outside the USA, this day basically, yeah, it's just another day. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed this, and take care everybody. See you guys really soon. Thank you again, GhostCritic, for allowing me to have the pleasure of being part of this comic collaboration. I love Watchmen. I highly recommend it. The entire book in whole is a 5 out of 5 stars. Cannot rate it chapter by chapter. Chapter 8 was just one of my favorite out of the many. I did like a handful of chapters. It's one of my favorite out of a handful of chapters. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting. As I said, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button for this and Dark Avenger Inc. Big things coming for both channels this summer and beyond. And check out the people below. Subscribe to them if you haven't already, if you like what you see. And comments are always welcome. I love comments. Please feel free to. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting, as I said. And I'll see you guys really soon. Later, everybody.